They call her lonely, I call her unstoppable. They call her sad, I call her self-made. A woman with no friends? Darling, she is the most dangerous force you will ever meet. Because when a woman learns to stand without a cheering crowd, when she laughs without an audience, when she solves her problems in silence, when she wipes her own tears and builds her empire brick by brick, she becomes a woman you cannot fool. A woman you cannot break. A woman you cannot use. Remember this. The world fears a woman who doesn't need validation, because she's no longer controlled by fear of losing anyone. The woman with no friends, she has the rarest power of all, freedom. And freedom, my friend, is where rare queens are born. Self-sufficiency becomes the rarest, yet the greatest superpower a woman can ever possess. You see, a woman who walks through life without depending on anyone for her joy, her success, her peace of mind, she is untouchable. She becomes the storm that no one sees coming. People may wonder why she chooses to dine alone, why she laughs without waiting for someone's approval, why she no longer picks up every call or answers every text. It's because this woman has tasted the sweetness of self-sufficiency. And once you have that flavor in your mouth, no other taste will satisfy you. Take a simple example from daily life. A woman sitting alone at a cafe, sipping her coffee slowly, reading a book. The world stares. They think, poor soul, no one to share her time with. But they are blind to the truth. In that moment, she is enjoying the deepest luxury that exists, the company of herself. No gossip draining her energy. No fake friends pretending to care. No man texting late at night only when it suits him. Just her thoughts, her dreams. And that is a superpower no money can buy. Look at the workplace. The self-sufficient woman walks into the office with quiet confidence. She doesn't flatter the boss for attention. She doesn't cling to co-workers to fit in. Why? Because she knows her worth is not tied to office politics or anyone's opinions. She delivers her work, she improves herself, she shines on her terms. When layoffs happen or promotions are whispered, the self-sufficient woman remains calm because her worth does not rise and fall with other people's approval. And in relationships, her superpower blinds the weak-hearted. While other women may break, cry, or lose themselves when a man leaves, she simply smiles and says, I was whole before you came, and I'll be whole after you leave. Her self-sufficiency makes her dangerous to players, manipulators, and charmers. They cannot control what they cannot own. And this woman, no one owns her. Her joy does not depend on sweet texts or empty promises. Her peace is not shaken by unanswered calls. She sleeps well because she belongs to herself, not to anyone's mood swings. Even in her family, she stands apart. The daughter who learns to solve her problems rather than depend on her parents for every little thing. The sister who supports but never begs. The friend who gives love but never demands. This woman commands quiet respect. When crises hit, money trouble, betrayal, heartbreak, she is the first to rise, to solve, to carry herself through the fire. While others break into pieces, she becomes sharper, wiser, more solid. And the world watches in shock, asking, how does she do it? They don't understand. They've never met a woman who doesn't need anyone to save her. Think of the woman at midnight sitting by her window, sipping tea, planning her dreams. No distractions, no fake friends texting useless things, no one to impress. Just her and her dreams, fierce and clear. While others waste hours scrolling, chatting, pretending, they will wake up tomorrow the same. But she will wake up tomorrow stronger, clearer, closer to the life she is building brick by brick, for herself, by herself. Even in health, this superpower shows. While many wait for friends to join the gym or partners to motivate them to eat right, this woman laces up her shoes and runs alone. Not because it's easy, but because she refuses to be dependent on anyone for her progress. Her body, her strength, her energy, hers to protect, hers to build. This woman understands. The only one who can carry her to the finish line is herself. And in failure, this self-sufficiency becomes iron. When life knocks her down, she doesn't beg for rescue. She wipes her own tears, tends her own wounds, and rises again. The world may offer sympathy, but she doesn't need it. She doesn't need to post sad quotes for attention. She doesn't need late-night phone calls to survive. She needs only herself. And that is terrifying to anyone who hoped she'd stay weak. Even in joy, she celebrates alone if needed. She doesn't wait for approval to smile. She doesn't need likes or comments to feel proud. She achieves, she wins, and she claps for herself when no one else does. Because she knows, if you can celebrate alone, you are unstoppable in this world. Her silence speaks louder than noise. In a world where everyone is in a rush to speak, to explain, to defend, to justify, a woman who chooses silence becomes the most mysterious and powerful presence in the room. She doesn't argue back when someone underestimates her. She doesn't explain her worth to those too blind to see it. She doesn't rush to prove herself in rooms filled with people who have already made up their minds. Instead, she lets her results speak. She lets her aura speak. She lets the silence wrap around her like armor, protecting her energy from the noise of the world. Look at the office. There's a woman who attends every meeting but rarely speaks unless necessary. People may think she is weak, shy, or unsure. But when the real moment arrives, when it's time to show results, to perform, to lead, she stuns the room into silence. Her silence was not a sign of fear. It was the quiet sharpening of her sword. While others were busy talking, proving, arguing, she was busy preparing, planning, and building her excellence. And when she finally moves, she moves like thunder. Quiet, powerful, impossible to ignore. In friendships, her silence ends meaningless drama. When gossip circles around her name, she doesn't run to clear her image. She doesn't text long explanations or cry for validation. She lets the liars burn themselves out in their own noise. Because she knows truth doesn't need defenders. It stands tall all by itself. People who matter will see through lies. Those who don't deserve her attention anyway. Her silence sends a message louder than any defense ever could. I do not explain myself to small minds. Look at relationships. When a man plays games, when he ignores her to test her patience, when he expects her to chase, she chooses silence. No angry texts, no desperate calls, no begging for attention, just silence. And that silence shakes his soul. Because suddenly, he realizes she is not a woman who fears being alone. She is not a woman who begs for crumbs. Her silence tells him, I don't compete for love. I don't fight for half-hearted attention. I am enough for myself. And the silence tells him, I don't compete for love. I don't fight for half-hearted attention. I am enough for myself. And in that silence, he loses control over her forever. Even in family, her silence is powerful. When relatives comment on her life, her choices, her career, her appearance, She does not waste energy explaining her decisions. No arguments at dinner tables. No long phone calls trying to justify why she remains single, why she chose that career, why she wears what she wears. Her silence says it all. My life is mine. I owe you no explanation. And slowly, they stop questioning. Because a woman who cannot be shaken by words is impossible to control. On social media, her silence is rare and golden. In a world where every moment demands a post, a reply, an opinion, she stays quiet. She posts when she wants, not when the world expects. She doesn't clap back at haters. She doesn't argue with trolls. She doesn't prove her worth in comment sections. Her silence there screams confidence. It tells the world, I am not here to perform, I am here to live. In moments of failure, her silence shines even brighter. When she falls, when she breaks, when life hits hard, she does not run around announcing her pain. She does not beg for sympathy. She heals quietly. She rebuilds in silence. And when she returns so powerfully that the world forgets she was ever broken. That quiet comeback is more shocking than any public announcement of pain ever could be. Even with herself, her silence is a language. In her late night hours when the world is asleep, she sits quietly with her thoughts. No panic, no noise, just silence, reflection, growth. In that silence, she meets herself fully. She forgives, she dreams, she plans. The noise of the world fades, and her true voice becomes clear. And that inner clarity turns her into a woman who cannot be shaken by the chaos outside. At the gym, she trains in silence. No showing off, no loud music, no need for compliments. She lifts, runs, pushes herself quietly, and when the results show in strength, in energy, in glow, everyone wonders, how did she transform? The answer is in her silent dedication. The daily discipline no one saw. The quiet effort that spoke louder than words. Even in success, her silence is remarkable. When she wins, she does not boast. She does not scream her greatness. She simply smiles, knowing she has earned it. And that quiet confidence makes the loudest noise of all. Because when a woman achieves in silence, the world cannot stop talking. She builds emotional strength in solitude, not because she was born strong, but because life gave her no other choice. She sat with a broken heart when no friend picked up the call, when no one came to check on her, when the world moved on as if her pain didn't exist. And in that silence, in that deep, painful loneliness, she met herself for the very first time. She cried alone on her pillow, but after every tear, she wiped her own face and said softly, "Get up, girl. No one is coming to save you. You save yourself." And that was the beginning of her real power. Look at the woman who walks home after work alone. No friend beside her, no phone call to distract her, no one waiting at home. But in that walk, she thinks, she plans, she dreams. She remembers her struggles, her fears, her doubts, and she talks to herself in the strongest voice. I am enough. I will make it. I don't need anyone's hand to hold mine. I will walk this road by myself if I have to, and I will reach where they said I couldn't. She said, I will make it. I don't need anyone's hand to hold mine. I will walk this road by myself if I have to. And I will reach where they said I couldn't. And I will reach where they said I couldn't. And I will reach where they said I couldn't. Every step she takes in silence is building muscles in her soul. While others are busy clinging to people out of fear, she is growing in solitude. In her career, she faces battles others will never understand. She gets rejected from opportunities, turned down in interviews, overlooked for promotions. But instead of crying on someone's shoulder, she locks her door, sits at her desk, opens her laptop again, and applies again. She teaches herself new skills. She watches, learns, upgrades her worth in secret. No boss, no mentor, no team needed. In that lonely grind, when no one claps, she builds iron inside her spirit. And when success finally comes, the world thinks she got lucky. They have no idea about the 1,000 silent nights she spent preparing for this day. In love, she builds emotional strength the hard way. When the one she loved left without a goodbye, when a text went unanswered, when she waited and waited and no one came back. Most people would run to friends, drown the pain in gossip, drinks, or distractions. But not her. She sat alone in her room, holding her own broken pieces, telling herself, "You will not beg. You will not chase. You will not lose yourself for someone who cannot see your worth." She cried in private, but walked out in public with her head high. And this made her unbreakable. Because now, even love cannot shake her center. She knows that no man, no relationship defines her. Even in friendships, her solitude became her shield. When friends betrayed her secrets, when fake friendships revealed their masks, she chose to be alone rather than stay among liars. She deleted numbers, walked away from circles, and sat alone at lunch tables. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it was lonely. But it built in her a rare freedom, the ability to enjoy her own company. Now she smiles at the thought of spending weekends by herself, reading, dreaming, planning, while others panic at the thought of being alone. She is no longer afraid of her own presence. She has made solitude her safe place. In family, when they judged her choices, her career, her dreams, she didn't argue endlessly. She didn't cry for their approval. She swallowed the hurt, sat alone in her room, and whispered, "They don't have to understand. As long as I understand myself, I am enough." While others spent years pleasing relatives, she spent those years pleasing her soul. And now, she walks through family gatherings, untouched by opinions, because she built her emotional strength in the dark. When illness struck, when life gave her unexpected pain, whether sickness in her body or sadness in her heart, she faced it without a crowd of supporters. She sat in hospital waiting rooms alone. She drove herself to doctor's appointments. She fought worry, fear, and despair with no one holding her hand. But in that harsh loneliness, she found the strongest part of herself. The voice that said, "Breathe, you will get through this." She became her own comforter, her own warrior, her own strength. And that made her untouchable. In simple things, she grew strong where others stayed weak. At the restaurant table for one, she didn't feel shame. She enjoyed her meal with grace. At the cinema alone, she laughed freely. At the shopping mall, she bought what pleased her, not what others told her was trendy. She stopped waiting for company to live her life. She gave herself permission to enjoy life without needing anyone's presence. And that small practice made her fearless in bigger things, like changing cities, starting new careers, ending toxic relationships. Alone, but confident. When failure came, and dreams collapsed, and plans fell apart, she sat with the disappointment quietly. No public meltdown, no social media drama. She faced the failure, accepted the lessons, learned the truth, and plotted a new way. Alone in her room at midnight, with a notebook in hand, she rewrote her dreams. No hand-holding, no false encouragement, just raw, honest, painful self-reflection. And that quiet rebuilding made her stronger than women who have never dared to stand alone. Even in joy, she learned to celebrate herself. She bought herself flowers. She took herself out for coffee. She rewarded her wins with small joys. She didn't wait for a partner to make her feel special or a friend to throw her a party. She whispered to herself, "You did it, girl. I'm proud of you." In those quiet, private celebrations, she built self-love that no one could ever take away. She doesn't compromise her standards. Not for love, not for friendship, not for society's approval. She knows exactly who she is and what she deserves. And she refuses to shrink, bend, or twist just to make others comfortable. When the world tells her to settle, to be realistic, to accept less than she dreams of, she smiles gently and says, "I'd rather wait than lower my standards." Because she understands a truth that most forget. When you lower your standards, you lower your life. And she refuses to live a small life. Look at her in relationships. When a man comes to her with half-hearted energy, inconsistent attention, and empty promises, she sees right through him. He may be handsome, he may be charming, he may whisper sweet words late at night. But if his actions don't match his words, if he can't give her the respect, loyalty, and presence she knows she deserves, she walks away without fear. No begging, no chasing, no hoping he will change. She holds her head high and says to herself, "I'd rather be alone than with someone who can't match my energy." And that decision keeps her spirit pure, her heart whole, and her future bright. Because she refuses to decorate her life with temporary men who can't handle a permanent queen. In friendships, her standards are just as high. She doesn't sit at tables where gossip is the main course. She doesn't laugh at jokes that tear other women down. She doesn't keep fake friends who smile to her face and poison her behind her back. When she senses jealousy, competition, or disrespect, she leaves without looking back. She values her peace more than popularity. Her phone has fewer contacts, but every name in it is real. Every friend she keeps uplifts her, celebrates her wins, stands by her in storms. She would rather have 2 loyal souls than 20 useless ones. And that choice keeps her energy sacred. Even in her career, she refuses to lower her bar. When a company offers her a job below her worth, with promises of exposure instead of real pay, she smiles politely and says no. When clients try to underprice her work, she stands firm. "This is my value. If you can't afford it, find someone else." When co-workers try to make her small so they can feel big, she rises higher, lets her work shine, and never stoops to their level. Because she knows her dreams are too big to fit into tiny boxes designed by fearful people. She is not here to play small. She is here to lead, to inspire, to break ceilings. And that requires standards too high for the average mind to understand. In family, she holds her standards too. When relatives pressure her to marry early, to pick a safe career, to behave like a good girl who obeys every old rule, she gently but firmly says no. She will marry when she is ready. She will build the career she dreams of, even if it scares them. She will live by her truth, not their fear. Because she knows the price of peace with others is often war within yourself. And she refuses to lose her soul to win anyone's approval. And she will live it on her terms. In daily life, her standards show in the smallest things. She doesn't wear what fashion says. She wears what makes her feel powerful. She doesn't eat junk food just because it's easy. She nourishes her body because she respects herself. She doesn't waste her nights on meaningless scrolling. She reads, she learns, she grows. She invests in herself as if she were the most precious treasure on earth, because she is. And she treats herself that way in every choice she makes. Even when lonely nights come, and they do, she doesn't run to fill the silence with the wrong people. She sits in the quiet, holding her crown, whispering to herself, I am not hard to love. I am rare to find. She trusts that the right friendships, the right love, the right opportunities will find her at her highest standards, not when she lowers herself to desperation. And this patience, this self-worth, this refusal to settle makes her unstoppable. When opportunity knocks but smells of manipulation or dishonesty, she says no, even if it costs her temporary gain. She will not sell her values for quick success. She will not betray herself for applause. Her dreams may take longer. Her path may be harder. But when she arrives, she will arrive whole, proud, unbroken. Because she kept her standards high, her integrity intact, and her spirit clean. In moments of weakness, when doubt whispers, maybe you're asking for too much, she smiles and answers, I'd rather wait for what I deserve than accept what I don't. This is her quiet power, the strength that scares the world, because they know a woman who never compromises is a woman who can never be controlled. She attracts true, rare connections, not because she tries too hard or changes herself to fit into the world, but because she stays so fiercely authentic that only the right people can reach her. She knows that when you stop chasing approval, when you stop pleasing everyone, the energy you release calls in those who are meant for you. She understands that rare connections cannot be forced. They are drawn naturally to those who live in truth. So she doesn't dim her light, she doesn't shrink her voice, and she doesn't soften her power. Because those who belong in her life will not be afraid of her fire. They will be inspired by it. In friendship, she has learned this deeply. The moment she stopped entertaining gossipers, jealous friends, and time wasters, the air around her changed. She no longer laughed at jokes that didn't feel right in her soul. She no longer showed up for people who never showed up for her. At first, her phone got quiet, the fake invitations stopped, the weekend plans disappeared. But then, new energy began to flow. Women who cheered for her wins appeared. Friends who listened, not just spoke, came into her life. People who valued truth over drama started to fill the empty spaces. Because her refusal to settle made space for genuine souls. In relationships, this truth became even more powerful. When she stopped lowering her standards, when she refused to chase emotionally unavailable men, when she chose herself instead of begging for attention, something magical happened. The wrong ones faded away, and the right ones noticed her glow. A man who values depth, respect, loyalty, a rare kind found her. Because her energy no longer attracted the confused, the unsure, the players. Her vibe became a silent invitation to the real, the stable, the rare. This is the secret most don't understand. When you stand fully in your worth, the universe moves to bring you those who see it too. Even in the workplace, this silent power works for her. She doesn't flatter the boss. She doesn't play political games. She stays focused, disciplined, honest. And slowly but surely, the leaders who matter, those who value integrity, notice her. Those who value integrity, notice her. She works for the US government. She started her career as a corporate lawyer. She could have easily stayed in India, but she felt a way of connecting to other cities in India, that she could live up to a life that fits her. She could live up to a life that fits her. Projects come her way, opportunities find her desk, mentors approach her, sensing her quiet brilliance. Because her refusal to fake, to flatter, to manipulate, attracts the rarest kind of professional connection. Respect based on truth. She doesn't need to network like the desperate. Her work, her attitude, her grace does the talking. In family, where expectations are heavy and change is feared, she chose courage. She didn't bend to old ideas about who she should be. She lived boldly, spoke her truth, followed her unique path. At first, relatives whispered, judged, pushed her to be like the rest. But slowly, quietly, something shifted. A cousin seeking courage called her for advice. An aunt, inspired by her strength, confided her secret dreams. Even the harsh elders softened, secretly admiring her freedom. By standing firm, she didn't lose them, she helped them rise. Her rare, true connection with family was not built on obedience, but on fearless authenticity. In daily life, she attracts strangers who feel strangely familiar. A bookstore owner who smiles with knowing eyes. A fellow traveler who shares the same passion for distant cities. A coffee shop barista who offers an extra smile because her energy feels different. These tiny moments are proof. When you live real, even strangers are drawn to your soul. No mask, no fake charm, just truth, pure and simple. And it echoes, calling rare hearts wherever she goes. Even online, her energy cannot be faked. While others post for likes, followers, validation, she posts from truth. Her captions are raw, her thoughts are deep, her joy is honest, and people feel it. Messages arrive from distant lands. Your words changed my day. Or, I feel like you understand me. She never tried to impress. She simply shared herself, and that rare authenticity attracted rare souls. When hard times hit, she discovered who was real, not the ones who cheered during her success, but the rare few who called when she broke, who stayed when she fell, who prayed when she was silent. These rare connections stood by her, not because she begged, but because her soul had quietly attracted them over years of living honestly. In her darkest hours, they appeared like hidden stars in a night sky, proof that living true attracts those who truly matter. Even in self-love, she forms the rarest connection of all, the one with herself. She looks in the mirror and smiles, with no need for compliments. She eats alone and feels no hunger for company. She dances in her room and laughs without an audience. This deep, unshakable friendship with her own soul radiates outward, and the world senses it. Those who are whole are drawn to her wholeness. Rare finds rare, true attracts true. Without effort, without noise. Like quiet gravity pulling stars together across the sky, she commands respect, not pity. There's a quiet power in the way she carries herself that makes people stand up and pay attention. Not because she plays the victim, not because she shares her struggles for sympathy, but because she handles her hardships for silent strength. She does not beg for kindness. She does not wear her wounds as a badge for the world to feel sorry for her. Instead, she transforms every scar into steel, every tear into wisdom, and every disappointment into dignity. When she walks into a room, the energy shifts. People sense that she is not someone to be pitied. She is someone to be respected. At the workplace, when deadlines suffocate, when focus mounts, and when the lazy ones complain, she remains silent and focused. Her colleagues may wait for someone to rescue them, but not her. She meets challenges head on without drama. No one sees her panic. No one hears her make excuses. She does the work, solves the problem, and leaves quietly with results in hand. Her boss notices. Her team notices. They don't whisper, "Poor her." They think, she's the one who gets things done. Respect follows her like a shadow, because she does not make weakness her story. She makes strength her identity. In relationships, her standards make the difference. When a man leaves, thinking she will break down, chase him, or cry for days, she does none of these. She lets him go. She fixes her crown and moves forward. She does not post sad quotes on social media. She does not drown her dignity in public heartbreak. And this confuses him, because most expect women to crumble. But she teaches him a silent lesson. Real women are not destroyed by departure. They rise even higher. Other women may seek pity with broken hearts. She seeks growth. And that quiet resilience earns her respect from even those who thought they could walk over her. In friendships, she holds herself with the same grace. When friends betray, when loyalty is broken, she does not explode in rage or fall into tears. She withdraws with quiet strength. She lets people reveal their true colors. And then she steps back, not in weakness, but in wisdom. She knows she deserves loyalty, and she will not beg for it. Those who left her circle find themselves regretting it, because the respect she commands cannot be bought, cannot be faked, cannot be replaced. She teaches others, without words, that her presence is not a charity to be thrown around. It is an honor to be earned. Even in family, where expectations crush so many women, she remains firm. When relatives pressure her to marry quickly, to settle for a man below her worth, or to choose an easy life over a meaningful one, she stands tall. She smiles politely but says firmly, "I will wait for what I deserve." She is not the girl who cries for approval. She is the woman who sets the bar high and dares to reach for it. They may gossip behind her back at first, but slowly they respect her courage. Because pity may make people talk, but strength makes them silent and watch. In everyday life, the difference is clear. When she enters a shop, waiters and staff treat her with care, not because she demands it, but because she exudes self-respect. Her posture, her eyes, her tone, everything says, "I value myself." When someone cuts in line, she does not stay silent in fear or start drama in anger. She calmly but firmly speaks her right. And people move. Not because they feel sorry for her, but because they sense her silent authority. Even in these small moments, she teaches the world how to treat her. When life hits hard, illness, failure, loss, she does not make the world her shoulder to cry on. She walks through fire with silent grace. No need for sympathy, no need for applause. She faces the pain, learns from it, and rises stronger. When friends or strangers learn of her struggle later, they are stunned. I had no idea she was going through that, because she wore her battles like invisible armor, not as chains. And that mystery makes them respect her even more. On social media, she's the rare one who does not seek pity posts. She shares her wins, she shares her lessons, she shares her strength. And people are drawn to her, not because they want to rescue her, but because they want to be like her. Nebatuaka, she was drawn to her not because they want to rescue her, but because they want to be like her. In a world hungry for attention and validation, her quiet confidence is a rare force. She shows the world that women are not made to be pitied, they are made to be powerful. Even in love, her dignity speaks. When promises are broken, when trust is betrayed, she does not chase or beg. She rises, rebuilds, and shines even brighter. The man who thought she would fall ends up respecting her more in her absence than he did in her presence. Because she taught him she is not a woman to be pitied. She is a woman who deserves loyalty or nothing at all. And this is the woman the world silently fears and secretly admires. A woman with no need to beg, no desire to please, and no hunger for false validation. She does not cry for company. She does not chase attention. She does not wait to be chosen. She chooses herself again and again and again, because she knows that the rarest gem is always found alone in the deepest caves, not shining under the common light. She walks her path not because she has no options, but because she refuses the ordinary. And this refusal makes her extraordinary. Let the world say she's too much. Let them whisper, why is she so distant? Let them wonder, why is she so quiet? Because behind that silence, behind that smile, behind those watching eyes, is a force that cannot be broken, a storm that cannot be tamed, a queen who doesn't sit on every throne offered to her, but waits for the empire that matches her soul. Like the saying everyone says, behind that silence, behind that smile, behind that command, a queen who doesn't sit on every throne offered to her the same safety that was given to her, but waits for the opportunity. She is not lonely, she is prepared. She is not desperate, she is rare. And rare is never easily understood. Your vibe attracts your tribe. You've heard this so many times. But when she raises her standards, she doesn't shrink her energy to fit the crowd. The crowd simply gets filtered. What remains is gold. What remains is real. True friends who love her fire, true partners who see her worth, true souls who bow not because of fear, but because of admiration. She does not chase, she attracts. She does not explain, she radiates. She does not run, she waits. And that waiting is not weakness, it is quiet power. Like the lioness watching in the tall grass, knowing her time will come. They told her she'd be alone forever. They laughed when she said no to easy love, to cheap friendships, to fast success. But they forgot. Diamonds are made under pressure. Queens are crowned in solitude. Legends are built in silence. And while others wasted years trying to fit in, she built herself to stand out. She sculpted patience into strength. She turned rejection into redirection. She made solitude her sanctuary. So when the right people arrive, and they always do, they will find a woman who is complete, not desperate to be saved. A woman who doesn't need anyone, but chooses who deserves her. She says, I have to do something. But for what good people? The world told her to be softer, smaller, quieter, to smile more, to settle more, to accept less. But she refused. She refused to live half a life. She refused to lower her crown. She refused to apologize for being too ambitious, too intense, too wild, because she knows well-behaved women seldom make history. She knows that the ones who change the world are the ones who refuse to be normal. She is not normal. She is phenomenal. And her time is coming. She walks with the grace of someone who has battled demons in the dark and won. She smiles with the calm of someone who has survived storms that would have drowned others. She stands with the confidence of someone who has chosen herself when no one else did. And that is the rarest power of all. the power of a woman who does not need to be completed by others. A woman who is already whole. And when the right man comes, when the right friends arrive, when the right opportunities knock, they will not find a broken girl waiting to be rescued. They will find a queen who built her throne in the wilderness. They will find a woman who doesn't need a spotlight because she has become the light. They will find strength disguised as softness, wisdom hidden in her silence, fire burning behind her calm eyes. Be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. That's her. Silent, strong, unshaken. They may misunderstand her. They may call her proud, arrogant, cold. But the truth is, they are simply not used to a woman who loves herself so deeply that she cannot be controlled. They are not used to a woman who commands respect without demanding it. A woman who never compromises, never chases, never begs. She is not waiting for a hero. She became one. She is not hoping for validation. She gave it to herself. She is not lost in this world. She is the map others follow. And her silence, her silence is not emptiness. It is a storm gathering. It is a force growing. It is history being written. So let the world watch. Let them whisper. Let them wonder. Because soon they will understand. The woman they ignored, the woman they doubted, the woman they pitied, was the woman destined to rise, the woman destined to lead, the woman destined to become unstoppable. She remembered who she was, and the game changed. And now, the world must catch up.